So this is going to be a 0.5 video that won't have an end screen because I decided, well, it should probably not have an end screen as we get Goizo Knight Errant. So, couple things to mention. I left one thing unedited just so I can show something, and that's all I'll have to say before the timestamp, basically. So, as we go into this, we will be testing out the mystery again, but not much has changed. But every small incremental change, I think, is important. And if nothing else, we can go through timeline or not ending B on the mystery. So, as we get into Goizo Knight Errant, blah blah blah, random item stats and custom character once more. This time we are, so I called it's a secret here, just not much, it's just a placeholder of sorts. But the effect is supposed to work as intended. I also disabled a bunch of the buttons, but the most important part, if I were to say, because if no one else will, if no one else is making guides or whatnot, just know that I hit something. You cannot use the images that you use for items and whatnot for allies. That you need to use something different. Now, that being said, the same thing can also be said for the chibi, because the chibi ally graphic is something specific that you have to add. So, yeah, did I say that right? I think I just autopiloted my own speech. So, for the sake of going through things, Festival, Botanist, Hiroko, Mermaid's footage. So we'll try to go through and get to the mystery last. We should be able to, but if we were to immediately investigate something right now, so you'll notice that this chibi graphic, against your better judgment, do not remove the green chromo color from your graphic, basically. That looks like it's the case for some graphics. It's not the case for that one. So that's the only second thing. The first thing, of course, is you cannot use the same exact images for allies that you use for items, status effects, and so on and so forth. I haven't tested everything else, but definitely not spells and items. I know this because I tested it out, unless for some reason I did do the tests for allies or not non-ally status cards. We'll call these cards because that's literally what they are. And there's something to mention on that later on, but I tested those in an earlier version, and then I updated the Perm plugin, or I'm using this updated version of the Perm plugin, and then I basically tested the ally graphic, and this is what you get. So, if you didn't know, if for some reason this is your first World of Horror video, it's not supposed to take up, the image is not supposed to take up the card like this, or maybe it does. I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm going crazy. I haven't looked at an ally for a long time. I guess we'll find out, because I was just doing quick tests. I only gave myself 2 hours to literally make this ally card, on top of doing the trying to finish off the mystery, even though I probably have like 25% of my thing left. Also, I just noticed I don't think I did a thing. I guess I'll keep an eye out, but I thought it was working, although I was doing some really extreme stress testing. Specifically, as the ally effect notes, there's a 25% chance that the reason increases, but then as I personally like to add in a message log. However, you can't always add in a message log, because at a certain point, you're going to have a bunch of messages firing off, and that would not be great for the player. So, shrug. So, yeah, on that note, there will be times, I think for allies and certain passive effects that are not done by the player, pretty much, you can avoid using a message, throwing a message to the message log. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, essentially, basically, unless the player clicks a button, you probably don't need to throw out a message log. Again, but that's my personal threshold. If you do something like, say the force tapes can be used, and then it throws out a message, you don't have to throw out a message there either. It's just what I personally like to do. But again, at a certain point, if too many messages are firing off, then no, that would not be good. Basically, I would advise you to go against what I say to do, what I'm saying to do, or what I like to do, because I know that what I like to do may not always be the most not intuitive, but that's the best word I can think of at the moment. Yeah, and again, the opposite, basically the devil's argument to my own personal preferences is that at a certain point you will just have messages firing off, and unless they're really, really important, even though arguably stamina or reason increases, decreases, or other things that affect gameplay is important, but shrug. So, so that being said, moving on. I wonder if I did a thing. Oh, you know what I didn't do? It's fine. It's fine, though. From what I see, I think the effect is happening correctly. I mean, if it's not, if 25% never hit, then sure, I guess, shrug. But otherwise, yeah, we'll just continue moving on. Again, that's all I really needed to show. And since I know the effect is at least working on the on the perm version I'm working, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to best word that. Yeah, you don't need to worry. Okay, just making sure I'm doing enough damage here. Although I think we were doing less damage there, but or less damage because of random item stats. That's all I have to say. Excuse me. We'll just take the Doom here. And off we go. I don't think we have enough Doom to last, especially if we're gonna Knight Errant ourselves. So we're just gonna, for the sake of this video length, if nothing else, we'll take Here Goes Mystery now. But again, if nothing else, we can look for. If there's nothing else to test, then yeah, just going through ending B. I tested ending B already, but just to show, because I like to at least go through ending A and make sure that more of the content is covered basically during a test. Shrug. On top of that, note that the ally doesn't have a face here. That's on purpose, so I can at least distinguish between the two characters. I might just remove that, but it depends on what if I really want to lock in what I have prepared. Basically, I'm deciding on whether or not I want to change things still. But as if we're working on, you know, getting allies working, and if nothing else, this is I think this is the first perm plugin video I've made that features allies pretty much. But yeah, not really much else to say. And again, if the game is supposed to be spitting out a message, I think I did an oopsie. Ooh, that's right. We need to cranial fracture. And off we go. But yeah, so ending B here, if you just want a little walkthrough here and there, you just pick this left option. Now I know that something changed means that you get a different end. Something changed means that you get a different ending. You also get a different graphic. This guy is obviously darker to kind of give some atmosphere to, hey, you're not doing ending A. And then as, thankfully, we're also going through a Knight Errant run, although you just have to believe me when I'm say that it just happened to be the one recording I did where I got Knight Errant. I mean, I could have just recorded until I got Knight Errant randomly on quick play, but that would take me a long time, so, and I don't have time for that, so off we go. But otherwise, yeah, just small little changes, just making sure everything works, and old gods forbid the game crashes. That would not be great. So yeah, off we go. But otherwise, working with allies, it's similar to any other status effect cards, but there are, again, minute differences. You know, having to add an ally chibi graphic. I think if you leave the tag blank, and if you ever work with basically custom content in general, you'll know what I mean. But if you leave the, in the case of the Perm plugin, if you leave an ally card's tag blank, I think it crashes the... I think it crashes because it looks for the correct tag, and it's trying to look for a specific string, and it doesn't find it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I didn't do enough tests, and it literally would take me just restarting the game after typing in something for like 5 seconds to test it out. But you get the point. Basically, just try to work with what you've try to work with what the game gives you. And if nothing else, use a placeholder. In the case of tags for ally, or sorry, what is it called? I'm just gonna take a quick look now, really quickly. Sorry. Yeah, it is called tag, and no, it's not called tag. I'm going crazy. Race, the race of the allies. So it could be dog, it could be human. I think those are really the two main ones. I think there might be one or two other ones, but you get the point. And if you know World of Horror, you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, basically there's a category of that you give to an ally for the sake of placeholder text or general text that is given to you. Also to note here, Blood Frenzy given by the game is has a black background, or just curses in general, but that's on purpose because if you try to actually label certain status effects as curses to give to characters, especially I think even during events, it won't work. So that's why you have to add it as a status effect, at least even in base custom content is what I'm trying to say. But then it'll get the white background. So that's a little small visual, I don't know if you want to call it a bug, but difference if nothing else. But it's perfectly fine because at least it works and it doesn't just crash the game. 82% doomed here, by the way. This is a short mystery, but if we're on timeline B, the game is over. That's not really much else to say. I should have used the monument, but I was definitely autopiloting the whole time. I guess little bonus notes is that, yes, if you do use 7th Curse and whatnot, or things specific to allies, like being able to sacrifice your ally for a certain ending, which I almost never do because Harbinger does not allow that gameplay. Well, it does, but I promise you, you might end up just losing the run trying to do so. Or other things like the quote unquote let go of an ally option with different effects. You can make it so that through the perm plugin, you can make it so that that doesn't help or work out. Now, obviously, in base custom content without the perm plugin, you can't even make custom allies, items, so on and so forth anyway. But theoretically speaking, if we're to work with basically different status cards, then yes, they do. Each genre does have its own little changes here and there, whether it's just an item that you use or an item that's a weapon. Allies, obviously, spells that have different effects because maybe you're on. Well, actually, are there things? Well, you get the point. Different categories of status or status cards or cards in general. I need to just call them cards. Do have their separate effects and separate things to consider when you're making them. Without being too verbose, even though I was being very verbose for a moment. My words, but the only other thing to mention, I guess, as a bonus, is that when I mention cards, it's really I've mentioned this before, but our World of Horde can be treated as a TRPG in video game format. But on that note, surprisingly, I think if I hear correctly, someone is making a World of Horde TRPG anyway. So, or a board game. I don't remember. Correct me. I don't know which one it is. So, which is interesting. I mean, if nothing, well, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but I do know something of physical material worth is being made. I think. Oh no, I didn't do Hiriko third. I did something else. I don't actually remember. What did I do? Oh, I think I took footage first. Did that mean I took botanist fourth? I must have taken it before on fourth, because I took it after the custom mystery Hiriko. But as I autopilot and stumble through this, hey, turns out, well, I don't win a lot of these, but you can win them autopiloting. I can win them autopiloting. But yeah, without further ado, again, no end screen here. If you have anything to say, I'll just throw the end screen up here, because why not? You know what to say. If there's anything else to consider, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to let me know. Although I do have a lot on my plate, and game development is slowly slugging along for reasons stated in the previous episode. I think previous episode, but this is a 0.5 episode, so technically, I guess the whole previous video. But yeah, without further ado, thank you for watching. I'm not going to take up much more of your time. Bye!